5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Utkarsh Tandon, and I welcome you all once again to this very special session and series, I can say. And it will be a fan engagement series, which has been started by Go Beyond Sports to involve and engage fans. And it is a platform to express your opinions and views on by the knowledge, by the plethora of knowledge which you possess as fans. And we'll also be joined by our expert, very own Mr. Monty Panesar, who was there with us all throughout the IPL. But now it is the high octane, the most anticipated series of the year. It's India versus Australia, and today the day-night test, the pink ball test, has begun. It was the first day, and what a gripping day it was! Means full of ebbs and flows. Right now, I'm putting on the ticker. That is the 233 for 6. This is the score at day one stumps. And India is not in a very comfortable position, but you can say that it's somewhat that India lost the grip in the third session, where they lost three big wickets, including the likes of Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane. It all started with the toss. India won the toss, elected to bat first, and then they lost to Prithvi Shaw right at the second ball of the test match, bowled by Mitchell Stark, and then a small partnership between Mayank Agarwal and Cheteshwar Pujara, but Mayank Agarwal also got out of a Jaffa from Pat Cummins. He was bowled through the gates, and then Rahane and Kohli. Then in the third session, it was the you can say a tragic run out of Virat Kohli. It was the call of Ajinkya Rahane, but he sent him back, but it was too late. And from there on, the downfall started. So now I have my expert with me. I'll quickly join him. Yeah. Sat Sri Akal, Paji, how are you?
Yes, I'm very good, thank you, and very happy to be on the show.
Thanks a lot, Paji. Actually, we are humbled to have you again on the show. Paji, I just request you to please align your camera to the center, because your frame is getting cut. Yeah, now it's perfect. Perfect. Yeah, perfect. So, Paji, you also had an eye on the test match. So, what do you take of the first day? Means the most anticipated, most hyped up series, the Border Gavaskar Trophy, first test match, day-night test match, pink ball test. There was a lot of buzz around this series.
Yeah, look, I think you know, Australian bowlers were relentless. They bowled really, really well, especially Pat Cummins. You know, bowling that off stump line, outside off stump, and made it very difficult for most of the Indian batsmen. And they kind of got their rewards later in the Test match in the last session, when they bowled really well in the first sort of probably the first 50 overs, I would suppose. And the question you kind of ask is, should India been a bit more aggressive in their running? When they couldn't get much runs, could they find ways of getting singles, get off strike, frustrate the bowling of England, sorry. And you kind of you kind of felt that one wicket, like the run out that happened, and there's a collapse, and the collapse happened after that. I think it was really, the Australian bowlers were relentless today. can't hear you.
Utkarsh, your mic is muted.
I'm really sorry, really sorry. So, Paji, my question was that India were 107 for 3 after 55 overs, means after the second session. So, were 107 runs enough after 55 overs? Although you've lost only 3 wickets, yet was that approach quite right according to you?
No, look, I felt that the thing is, to do well in Australia, you've got to leave the ball well. You know, Virat Kohli left the ball really well, played a really good disciplined innings, and you kind of sense that, you know, Virat Kohli loves Test cricket out of all the other, you know, and he loves the challenge of Test cricket. Now, you got to find ways, you know, you got to like, they're not going to bowl good lengths every ball, but there's going to be opportunities where you got to play the ball with soft hands and say, right, this is the opportunity. Take a quick single. It may not be an opportunity to hit the ball, you know, for anything else, but they kind of like let Australia bowl, and they didn't really put any pressure on them, which I kind of feel that the game, if let's say that run out didn't happen, then, you know, it could have ended up just being 220 for 4, great day, you know, played really well under tough conditions, and then tomorrow, you know, they'll probably, you know, try and get to 300, 350. Now with this collapse, you kind of like, you know, you kind of think that even up to 250, 280 will be a good score. But I think they've got to blame themselves, really. I think Virat Kohli did okay. But Pujara, you know, 20 runs off 150, 130 balls. It's great, you know, when you're there. But once you're there for such a long period of time, you can't afford to then get out, because you're not really rotating the strike and you're not actually putting any runs on the board. You're just soaking up the pressure. But you know, if that's the style India are going to play, then once their batsmen are in, that they can't afford to then have like these kind of missed opportunities, because they did the hard work in terms of, you know, soaking the pressure. But I just don't think this is the India team I'm used to seeing. I think India play better when they show a bit of intensity and actually don't play the attritional style cricket. I don't think it suits India at all.
Yeah, as you rightly mentioned that if you are taking the time, you need to capitalize on it. You need to make it count. So last question before going to our next guest is that Nathan Lyon, a finger spinner, bowling on the first day wicket of the Test match with the pink ball, and he's troubled every batsman. So, what do you take of Nathan Lyon's bowling on this day one pitch today?
Look, Nathan Lyon, he gets that extra bounce, he gets that extra revs on the ball, so he's always going to be, you know, troubling, you know, the Indian batsman with the bounce. And I think, you know, when he's got such a great Australian, you know, bowling lineup, you look at Mitchell Starc, you know, he only first 12 overs went for 12 runs, 1 wicket. It was like, it kind of set up the day for them, and it's going to be, I think throughout this series, Australia just look too strong. They're bowling, you know, and in terms of line and length, it's going to be interesting to see what game plans they come up with against Nathan Lyon. Because in India, the ball doesn't bounce as much. You know, they play really well against the turning ball, because it's the bounce. You know, any spinner you ask, what would you rather have, bounce or turn? And everyone says bounce. It's the bounce that is going to be much more difficult for them. So they've got to like work out what our game plans are. And throughout the series, that is what people are going to be watching and monitoring. How can India establish game plan, a positive game plan when Australia bowl well? Australia bowl well, can we still continue the scoreboard, you know, keep it ticking over? And I think that is a difficult task for them, because it's easy when the ball doesn't bounce much. Nice hot day, you know, first day of night, the others are not going to be as much, but flat wicket, great. We can play our shots. But what when you don't play your shots? Bowlers are in good rhythm. We need to find a way of rotating the strike, because, you know, it's too much pressure on the rest of the batting lineup.
Yeah. So now moving to, I have some fans because it's a fan engagement session. It's a fan meetup. So I'll quickly move across to Rohan. Rohan, hello, and you all,
Hello.
please can you unmute yourself?
Yes, I'm unmuted.
It's echoing. Yeah. So first of all, welcome, and you've also watched the match today. So what do you take of the today's play? What do you take of today's play, and what's your opinion and views?
So this was the second match, if I'm not wrong. India has only played a single pink ball test earlier than this
Yeah,
against Bangladesh, and that was on our home soil. So against a big team, this is our very first match, and I have few questions to ask. That yes, Virat Kohli was there to handle in this match, and in next match he won't be available as he'll be going for a parent leave. So
yeah,
who according to
paternity
you
leave.
should bat at number four in place of Virat Kohli? And according to you, once Rohit Sharma comes, does he become eligible for that number four spot?
Well,
Fine.
look, I think Rohit Sharma could bat at six, and you can probably have Ajinkya Rahane going at four. He's a good player. Rohit Sharma coming at six, which I think is a better position for him because he likes playing his shots. He's a batsman who likes scoring, and that's a better position where hopefully the ball isn't doing much when he comes out to bat.
Thanks.
So
And one more
Paji,
question.
yeah,
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 keeping in mind today's play, we didn't see KL Rahul playing this match. So, what do you believe that will he be added in the next match? And can he be the one playing at number four?
Look, I like to see an experience. A number four is such a key position, and the vice captain, Rahane, I think he should be batting there, and possibly you could bring KH Rahul into the team, who is, I think the thing is with KH Rahul, opening is probably the only spot for him, and he sometimes does look a little bit lazy, three or we've seen him, bat in England conditions where he kind of like, um, it takes a while to get him going, and you don't want potentially have two Rohit Sharmas in the team where you're KL Rahul at top of the order getting out early, and then you're exposing Rohit Sharma to the new ball, which I personally feel that the best of Rohit Sharma is maybe he's coming into bat after 40th or the 50th over, they're four down or something like that, probably be so much better for them because when you win in Australia, you've got to have a method. You've got to think, right, Pujara is the wall. He's going to soak up 100 to 150 balls. Doesn't matter what runs he gets, he's going to soak it
yeah.
up. Ajinkya Rahane is another one. Just bat out time. You are the guys who's going to get us, let's say, 150. That's that's like, if you look at it, that's like 100 balls from each, right? We're looking at, 120, 20 overs, 40 overs of batting, comes from them too. Now, if that happens, then the likes of the lower order will be exposed after the 50th or the 60th over. And then that is a great position for India to be, India being, let's say, after 50 overs, 60 overs, 150 for two, for example, that's a great position for India. They can capitalize on that. The ball's not going to move much. They can get their attacking batsmen in there, start accelerating the runs. So the key for me is going to be Pujara and Rahane, how they bat throughout the series, because they're the ones who can bat out long periods. And when the ball is going to be moving around, they'll tough it out, they'll grind it out. KL Rahul and Rohit Sharma, they don't, they'll play shots, and we'd rather have them when the ball isn't moving much.
Paji, just before moving to Niteshji, Rohit Sharma was opening the innings before this pandemic when we played in our home soil against South Africa or Bangladesh. He was opening the innings and he was promoted as an opener, and it was the team management who said that now Rohit will open for us in test matches. And considering Prithvi Shaw's weakness, don't you think that they will, means in the absence of Virat Kohli, they would want Rohit to open and Vihari should stick at 6?
Look, yeah, look, Rohit could open the batting, but I don't think he has a technique for it. You know, Rohit is very much being six. Rahul could open the batting, but he really needs to knuckle down because it's like he's obviously, you know, he feels that he likes to play his shots again, and he's had a very successful T20 one-day career. But you look at Virat Kohli, steely determination. You know, that's what they look at. How determined he is when he's coming out the bat, and he's batting well. Now, you know, if that run-up didn't happen, it could have been a different ballgame. But I do think the batting, the core of the batting of India's batting in Test matches is Pujara, Virat Kohli, and Ajinkya Rahane. And if Virat Kohli isn't there, then I would put Ajinkya Rahane at 4, and then at 5, I think Rahul is better at 5. 6 should be Rohit Sharma. I think that is much better lineup because imagine Rahul and Rohit Sharma batting together. That same scenario, come after the maybe 40th, 50th over, you know, we could see some, you know, we could see in a one session the game completely changing.
They can change, yeah. So now moving to Nitesh Chabra. Also, we have Nitesh Chabra with us. Nitesh ji, another very good and well knowledgeable fan. So Nitesh ji, welcome. And what's your opinion and view of today's play?
पाजी नमस्कार।
हाँ नमस्कार।
नमस्ते सर।
मेरा एक क्वेश्चन है कल के प्ले के लिए, जो कल सेकेंड डे जो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट रहेगा। पाजी अश्विन का क्या रोल होगा कल? मुझे ये जानना है आपसे। आप भी स्पिनर थे, अश्विन भी स्पिनर है और फ्रंट लाइन स्पिनर है, तो क्या वो डिफेंसिव बॉलिंग करेंगे कि रन रोकने का काम करेंगे कि अटैकिंग मोड में जाना चाहिए विकेट लेने के लिए?
हम देखते हैं पिंक बॉल ऐसी है जो आप अटैक करोगे ना बाउंस ज्यादा मिलेगा। सो मेरे हिसाब से अश्विन को अटैक करना चाहिए। You should use him as the attacking bowler and yes.
Okay, so पाजी हमने देखा है कि बहुत ज्यादा साइड स्पिन का यूज करते हैं रविचंद्रन नेथन लायन, जिससे कि उन्हें he gets that extra bit of bounce in Australian pitches. But in recent past, of late, we've seen Ravichandran Ashwin also using this. So, are you anticipating that Ravi Ashwin will use this that tomorrow and will have that on his at his benefit?
Yeah, look,
side spin.
Yeah, Ashwin is very clever bowler, you know, and he may not get the same bounce, but I think he'll be much more attacking than Lyon was today. You know, Ashwin attacks, and I think you should, after the first few overs, bring Ashwin on early because the Australian batsmen are used to playing fast, bouncy pitches. They're not used to the spin. They're not used to the new ball skidding on. You know, they're not used to that. Ashwin could end up getting 5 wickets, picking up quickly wickets because, you know, the ball kind of, in Australia, you look to spin the ball and sometimes it holds its line and you attack both sides of the edges. You know, and all it needs is a little bit of movement, LBW, quick, sharp edge, on slip, you know, little back pad. Suddenly, 2 wickets, then you just get the seamers back in there. So I think Ashwin is going to be the key for India to win this test match.
Yeah, and today also we saw that there was some grass on the wicket, but it was just to bind the wicket because we saw that Nathan Lyon was getting some turn off the wicket and he troubled every batter, be it Rahane, be it Pujara, Virat Kohli, or maybe, Hanuma Vihari as well. So everyone he troubled. Now coming on to the fast bowlers, the way they bowled, and especially in the third session, means post the run out of Virat Kohli, there was this collapse and at a very wrong time, just when the day was about to get over. At that time, the collapse actually took place. And what do you take of Australian fast bowlers? They bowled well, but at the same time, be it Indian fast bowlers or Australian fast bowlers, they need to maintain their fitness if they have to play their all the 4 test matches, and according to that, they need to manage their workload of spells.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you. So that's why I said to you, Ashwin's a key player because the seam bowlers can rest. Ashwin can bowl from one end, hold an end up, bowl attack in. If they go after him, have in and out field. But I think Ashwin's going to hopefully pick up a few wickets, and then it gives a respite. You know, you're rotating the seamers from the other end, and if one of the seamers does really well, then you put him on for a little bit longer. But I think that's how Virat Kohli needs to think that, right, I'm going to rotate the strike around Ashwin, get the seamers on early. If they pick up a couple of wickets, great. But after the 20th over onwards, I'm going to rest my bowlers. We've got 4 test matches to play. We got to Ashwin, has to bowl really well from one end. And if they go after him, we'll have an in and out field. And from the other end, maybe we'll attack. But if there's nothing happening in the game, then just play attritional cricket like Australia did. And then there's no David Warner in the team, So who knows? India could actually bowl Australia up cheaply if they get the tactics right.
Yeah. Last question from Rohan. I think Rohan has a point to make. So Rohan, you can make your point, and then we'll wrap up.
So Paji, as we know that India is only having 4 bowlers. So who will be the 5th bowler bowling tomorrow from India, or will we be missing Hardik Pandya being not played in the 11?
Yeah, look, Hardik Pandya is a good bowler, but he will be kind of missed. But I think they've got the right team. 4 bowlers, 3 quicks, 1 spinner is perfect. You put the onus on Australian conditions. I back my bowler Ashwin to do well, and I rotate the seamers from the other end once they get into the game. If they pick up a few wickets, in the first hour, great. That's all a bonus, really. But the game really is going to be won or lost midway after the second session, then throughout the halfway through the game. In the 3rd hour onwards. That's when, the next 3 hours is where the game wins. And that's where Ashwin is going to really come into play. So, yeah, they may get a few wickets early doors. They may bowl them out cheaply. But there will be a time where they'll think, right, Australia grinding it out. So let's get this right. Let's get Ashwin to bowl from one end and rotate the seamers from the other. There'll be a passage in play where they need to get that as well.
Yeah. And also, India has never won a test match playing 5 bowlers. They've always won abroad playing 4 bowlers only. So they might have that in mind. And looking at what Nathan Lyon did today, I think Ashwin, as you mentioned, will probably get a lot of help from the wicket as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Ashwin is a far cleverer bowler, more variation. So he may not have the same bounce, but he'll find ways of getting wickets, especially with the inexperienced, lineup of the Australian team. They're inexperienced. So I think, yeah, they probably have a good chance of picking up a few wickets.
So, Paji, tomorrow, how much do you see will India reach in the first innings, considering they are 6 down? Ridhiman Shah and Ravi Ashwin.
India, if they turn up with accelerating, they can get to 350, 400. It's very possible. They've got the batting to do that. And if the ball isn't doing much, they may get bowled out for under 350. But I think, India can get to 400 tomorrow.
But minimum, what minimum total should India reach to at least give some fight? At least 300?
I think at least 320, 325, another 100. I think India will be happy with that.
Okay, so tomorrow after the day's play at 5:15 p.m. India time, we'll again meet. Paji will be there. All the fans will join. Tomorrow again we'll meet to review the day 2 play of the day-night test, ongoing day-night test between India and Australia of this Border Gavaskar series. Till then, good night and good night.
Good night.
Goodbye, Paji. Goodbye.